To remember when solving logarithmic equations. First off, let's remind you of the rules of logs. To add, you actually multiply. Log 3 plus log of 4 would be log of 12. To subtract, log of 6 minus log of 2. To subtract, you actually divide. That'd be the log of 3. Then the last rule is to multiply a number times a log. You can actually move that number up top and change that to log of 3 to the second or log of 9. Also, again, we need to make sure that we know how to change from logarithmic form back to exponential form. 3 to the second equals 9 is the same thing as saying log base 3 of 9 equals 2. So this to this power is equal to this is how we change it back. So here you go, first problem. First thing that I would do is move the 3 over by subtracting. So that gives you 5 log base 2 of x minus 4 equals 25. I would not move this up to an exponent. I'd go ahead and since it's being multiplied, I would divide it. And that's going to give me 5. This next step, nothing else can move over. So I'm simply going to change forms. 2 to the 5th power is equal to x minus 4, which means 2 to the 5th power, if you actually multiply that out, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32 is equal to x minus 4. Last step, move the 4 over. We get an x has a value of 36. Now, one thing we do need to know, you can't take the log of a negative. So we've got to make sure that when we plug this x value back in, 36 minus 4, that's fine, that's 32, that we don't get a negative. All right, next problem. Reminder, to add two logs, we multiply. So log of x plus log of 8 would be the log of 8x. Next step, nothing else can move over, so we're going to change forms. Again, this is called a common log, so this number down here is a 10. 10 to the 2nd power equals 8x, or 100 equals 8x. Last step, divide by 8, and we get that x has a value of about 12.5. And again, check to make sure we can plug in 12.5, and it is fine. To subtract two logs, we again divide. So this would be log base 9 of x plus 6 divided by x equals this 4. I'm going to move it up to an exponent. Log base 9 of 2 to the 4th power, or 16. This is a different type of logarithm equation. Anytime you have a log that's equal to a log, let me give you an example. If I have 3 to the x power equals 3 to the 2nd power, it is obvious that I could replace this x with a 2 to make this a true statement. This is working the same way. If you have a log that's equal to a log, well, these things have to be equal before this statement can be equal. So we're kind of canceling the logs out. So it gives me x plus 6 over x is equal to 16. The next thing I would do is get rid of this x on bottom. Since it's divided by, I'm going to multiply by on the other side. I now have x plus 6 equals 16x. I'm going to move my x over with the other ones. That gives me 6 equals 15x. Last step, divide by 15. And I get that x has a value of, let's reduce that. That'd be 2/5 or 0.4. This will be fine as long as I'm not taking the log of a negative or 0. I don't know if I mentioned that a while ago. If I plug in 2/5 here, I'm fine. If I plug in 2/5 here, I'm also fine. So therefore, 2/5 is a legitimate answer. Last problem deals with natural logs. The rule is, if you don't remember, a natural log has a base of e, 2.718. So anytime you see these ln's, they work the same way. They just have a different base. To subtract two logs, again, we divide. That'd be the natural log of 4x plus 1 divided by 3 equals 5. Next step, nothing else can move over, so we're going to change bases, we're going to change forms. The base is e. Therefore, that means e to the 5th power is equal to 4x plus 1 over 3. Now, there's two different ways you can work this. The same way when you're dealing with pi's, we can leave it as pi, or we can plug in 3.14 for pi. E's the same way. We can work with e's, or we can plug in 2.718. I'd much rather just work with e's and keep it exact. Step 1 to get x by itself is move the 3 over by multiplying. Next step, let's move the plus 1 over by subtracting. So that's 3e to the 5th minus 1 equals 4x. And the last step, since 4 is being multiplied by x, if we divide the whole thing by 4, we get an exact answer.